So we're going to look at drawing a very simple pattern using the transform tools. So I'm going to draw a box, use my grid lock, and I'm going to go 50 by 50. So I can see down the bottom down here, I can see my measurements. So 50 by 50 looks like that. And I'm going to zoom in using my zoom tool there. And then I've got my my box, which I'm going to draw my pattern in. So I'm going to double click, because these grid spacings are quite annoying for me now because they're too far apart to draw a decent pattern. So I'm going to double click on my grid, and I'm going to change my grid spacing to, for this case, 0.5. What this does, it will increase the density of my dots, and that means I can draw a pattern. So I'm going to start drawing just a little pattern. Start with a circle. Then I might draw a line from that circle up to here perhaps, and then from that point I might draw another circle like that. And what I might do now is I'm going to quite simply just take those two, and I'm going to use a transform tool over here, click and hold, and I can mirror it, I can do copy and rotate and that sort of stuff. So I'm going to rotate this one. And what I want to do is I want to have 6 in total. So I want 5 repeats plus the original. And then what I'm going to do is change the angle. So obviously it's a full 360 degrees. And obviously I want to have 360 divided by 6, which in this case will be 60 degrees. Hit OK. And then I need to specify my center point, which is there. And that gives me a pattern here. Now, if I was to use on the laser cutter, which is what I want to try and do, this won't cut out properly because it'll just cut out the lines and it won't be an actual space to let the pattern come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a contour tool, which draws a line a set distance away from the other lines that it can detect. So I'm going to set that to be 1.5 millimeters. And I'm going to click OK, and I click on the outside, and that does the circles, but only the circles, which is a bit annoying. So I'm going to undo that with Control Z, and I'm going to go back to my contour tool, and I'm going to go to 2 millimeters and hit OK, and see if that can. Again, it's not happy with that either. So something's wrong with this. So I'm going to change my contour into being selecting the selected objects. So I'm going to select those objects there. I'm going to select all of them, and then I'm going to click on my contour tool and set that to 1 millimeter instead. I want to go outside, and I'm going to go OK, and then it does it properly this time. Okay, so there's different ways to try and achieve the outcome that you want. So I'm going to delete the original stuff while it was still selected. I select my new object and just move that towards the center of my square. I'm quite happy with that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to create a little pattern around the outside with some squares, maybe, or maybe some triangles. No, I'll go squares. So I'm going to create just a little regiment of squares around the outside. So I'm just going to create a little square like that. I'm going to select that square, and I'm going to do a rectangular array. So I'm going to put, I'm going to say 6 of those in a column, 6 in a row, and I want the spacing between them to be I'm going to say 10 millimeters between them. Okay, and see what happens. There you go. So there's my squares there, which look quite cool, but I'm going to delete the ones that are getting in the way. So I might just delete those just to give myself a nice sort of border. Obviously these ones are getting in the way too, so I'm just going to select those, move these ones over to match the others. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. It's quite a nice little pattern, and then that is that part done.